Hey guys, I'm AJ.
I'm Shanique.
I'm Tazi.
So in 2018, we quit our jobs to travel the world and live a freedom lifestyle.
We wanted to share our journey with you.
So welcome to the family.
Hey family, welcome back. It's Shanique here from FroFamilyTravels, and we have another episode of Black Brits Abroad. And this is our weekly segment where we share the stories of people who have Blaxited, people who have decided that the UK is no longer for them, and they're going to share everything about what it's like living abroad outside of the UK. So today I'm really excited to introduce Stacey to you. Hi, Stacey.
Hiya.
And Stacey, if you don't mind, I'm going to hand straight over to you. Can you tell us more about yourself and how you ended up here?
Okay, so my name's Stacey. I basically left England. I was born and brought up in England. I left England about 10 years ago now and went to live in Ghana. It was pretty impromptu, and I think that's probably the most interesting part of my story, because normally when people leave their home country, they've spent time planning and getting themselves together. But what I think is enlightening about my story is that it was impromptu, and I was literally thrown into the deep end and had to learn to swim. And yeah, I learned to swim, and I feel I swam quite well.
Right. I need some more details about this, because you're being very vague at the moment.
Well, we're still at the intro stage, so.
All right. Well, let's get straight to it then. So how did this happen? So over 10 years ago, how did you make the decision?
So what happened was my parents are both Ghanaian born. They met in England, so it's not like their story is new. They moved to England very young, both of them, and they met here. They fell in love. They got married. All the whole fairy tale bit, And my mum basically had a lot of time in Ghana, and she had some business interests there. So one April, I went there on holiday, and as I was sort of looking at what was going on with her, I realised that she really needs help. Things weren't going as they should have been, and I was really the only child who was in a position to help her at that point, because I'm a primary school teacher by profession, but I was teaching supply at the time, so I had more freedom time-wise. My sisters were both in self-employment and were in businesses that they couldn't walk away from. So I was in a position to do something, and that was how it all came about. So no plan. And to be in a country, I mean, I love Ghana. I'd been there a few times on holiday, but I'd never lived there. So it was really being thrown in at the deep end. And for any of you who have been to Ghana, you'll know that it's a lovely place, but there's a lot going on, as there is in most countries, and especially third world countries. You have to have your wits about you. You have to be a bit savvy in order to make it really work. So going there to live without a plan, not easy. That's what I will say personally. Definitely not easy, but if I manage to do it, anybody can do it. I'm just your average girl. So, it means it's possible.
Wow. So, all right, 10 years ago, quite a while, but do you remember your first month? What was that like? Because like you said, there was no plan. You just kind of fell into it. So what was it like to kind of land and be like, this is it, I'm here, we're doing it?
Well, the first month was easy because it was holiday mode. I was still in holiday mode. I had no idea at this point that I was going to stay. So, so if we go to the month that I sort of realised, I called my sisters and I was like, you know what? I don't think I can come straight back.
Wow.
And so it was sort of from that realization point, which was probably a week and a half, 2 weeks in. And I was like, I have to do something. I can't, I'm that sort of person. I can't just sort of sit back and watch something failing or falling apart or, not go right and do nothing. So I was like, right, something's got to be done. So I sort of called my sisters and had a conversation with them first and everything. But when it comes to sort of then trying to work through sort of staying, accommodation is probably the first thing people would think about, which was easy. My mum's got a nice home there, so that was fine. So I didn't have to worry about that sort of thing. But just sort of navigating everything else and taking over business transactions for her and all that kind of thing in an environment that, I mean, is home but foreign all at the same time. Yeah, it was hard. It was hard. And I'm not gonna lie, the first 18 months probably I felt like I was banging my head against a brick wall, and I was the laid back attitude that I loved as a holiday maker drove me insane.
Gosh. Wow. So within that first month and a half, you're helping out mum with business and helping to kind of, I guess, make things a bit more stable and more viable. I'm making an assumption now that happened. You were able to support her and make that happen. But then it becomes, you go from, I'm here out of obligation and to support my mum. That's a year and a half in, but now you're 10 years in. Are you still there because of your mum, or are you there because you want to be now?
So about a year into being there, I met my current husband, my now husband, I should say. And so that helped. That really did help because obviously I didn't have any friends there. I didn't grow up there. I grew up in England. So I didn't have any friends there. I had some family members, but it's not the same. So I met him, and that really helped because obviously he was born and brought up there. So anything that I was unsure about or lacked a bit of confidence in, I would sort of bounce ideas around with him and, get his opinion, and he's got his head screwed on. So that really helped. It made things easier from that point out because I thought I then had a partner in crime,
Of course. Wow. And at what point did you decide? I know you said kind of a couple of weeks in, you kind of were speaking to your siblings and saying, maybe you won't be coming back. But, this is a huge commitment to now be here for 10 years. What point did you definitely decide, yeah, I'm done. I have no need to go back to the UK at all?
I mean, I definitely had need because I had my older children were all here.
Okay.
And so that also had that added another layer of difficulty. But I don't really know, even to now. Thinking about it, I don't really know where the sort of decision came that I actually don't live in England anymore.
So you've been back and forth in between that time?
Yeah. I've definitely spent more time in Ghana than in England in the last 10 years. There was a point where I don't think I came back to England for about 3.5 years.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So, yeah, that was difficult. And sometimes I come back, I spend a month. Other times I've come back, I spent 8 or 9. In fact, I think this is my second sort of 9-month stint. So I had a sort of 9-month stint. Because I was here when COVID hit. I was in England when COVID hit. I'm currently in England. And I was here when COVID hit. So I ended up being here about 9 months before going back. And so this is my second 9-month stint. So they're the 2 longest amounts of time that I've spent in England since leaving.
Yes, wow. And how did the rest of your family react to you deciding that maybe Ghana was going to be your primary place of residence?
I think because of the way it happened, they didn't really have time to express much of an opinion. I think if I had said it beforehand, they would have said what most people say, which is, oh, you'll go and 6 months down the road, you'll be back, because that is generally what happens. People, especially first generation, find that, we've been on holiday so much and everything, and we've loved that. But then we're like, yeah, we're going to go and live. And people make the transition. And 6 months down the road, they're like, I don't know how people live here. I don't know how they do it. And they run.
Understandable. Yes. Yeah. We experienced a little bit of that. I can't lie. We spent 4 months in Ghana, and there were definitely some challenges. And not saying that we wouldn't return, because we absolutely would. But I'm glad we had a taste of it. But it allowed us to kind of understand what mentality is needed, what finances is needed. And I think it's always a great idea for people to test out living in countries first before making a firm decision, because it can be a lot. It can be a lot to transition into.
I totally agree that it can be very difficult, but because I feel like I've done it in one of the harder countries, and I say harder purely because of how laid back Ghana is. For example, it's like, I always tell the story that I I needed a plumber, and I called the plumber. The plumber says, okay, I'm on my way. 3 hours later, I called again. Yeah, on my way. 24 hours later, I'm like, I need another plumber. I find another plumber. That plumber comes, does the work. Fabulous. 3 days later, the first plumber phones me. Oh, Stacey, I'm on my way. I'm like, on your way where?
3 days.
Honestly, like, you can't make it up. So I'm not saying that that's everybody, but these things do happen. People are really, really laid back. And when it comes to sort of the social side, that is fantastic. And when it comes to, wanting to be somewhere where the pace is a lot slower, people are more relaxed, people are generally happier, people are friendly, you generally won't walk past people in the street without saying hello, that kind of life, it's fabulous.
Yeah.
But when you really sort of need to get things done, it can be very tedious.
Yeah. Because you're coming from the UK, London, where things are so fast paced. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, you really
need to learn to chill.
Exactly. And I found it that they kind of look at you like, well, what's the urgency? Like, what's the need for the rush? Like, chill.
People always want to know why I walk so fast. 10 years down the road, that's not changed. You still think I'm walking fast. It's like, you're in a hurry going. Like, But there's a lot of, the fun side is real. I mean, the first time I got a phone call at like 7 a.m, oh, come out, let's go for a drink. I'm like, what do you mean? Like 7 a.m? Yeah.
Seriously.
Like, wow. So, it's an experience and a half. And there are so many different types of people in Ghana. So that is also really nice. There's someone from everywhere in Ghana.
Yeah. Which part of Ghana are you based in?
I'm in Accra when I'm in Ghana.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. So there's a lot going on in Accra.
Yeah. you know, and there's a bit of everything, every kind of lifestyle's there.
So I want to get a little bit more personal, if that's okay, because you said you met your now husband in Ghana. So what was that like, dating abroad and meeting someone, getting to know them? How did it compare to maybe dating in London?
I think dating's the same everywhere. I don't think it's really different. I think that, you know, people are people at the end of the day. I think the only thing that women especially should think about when dating abroad is there any agenda besides love? I think you have to be sensible on that level and consider that, because, you know, realistically that does happen. But aside from that, it was much the same. I mean, I always tease my husband that he has a pretty lame game and things like that. He's not very talkative, and I'm sort of the and things like that. So I tease him about that. But, you know, that I could have met somebody like that in England. So, you know, no difference at all when it comes to dating.
Would you say that it was easy to meet men out there? Because some people would say maybe in the UK it's slim pickings or it's a little bit difficult. Did you have kind of lots of choice in Ghana?
I've never actually thought about that one. But I think so. I think, that said, there were there were a few people who expressed interest before my husband, and like, yeah, a few of them did become running jokes at home between me and my mum and things like that. I think I don't know. I think maybe there's a level of confidence there in Ghana anyway. I don't know about any other countries, but in Ghana there's a level of confidence in men that I never seen in England, I don't think. You know, here people are so reserved, and there it's the total opposite. So people are very confident in themselves and things like that. So that I had some fun at a few people's expense, I suppose, here and there in that regard. But other than that, no big differences really. Yeah.
And you mentioned, the one thing that women probably need to be careful of, and men, I assume, need to be a little bit careful of is people's potential agenda when it comes to dating. Maybe British, US-based potential partners. What could one do to protect themselves from these people who may be trying to take advantage of them? Are there any signs that you think people should look out for?
That's a really hard question, because I think that you have to apply common sense. And I think that you have to also maintain a certain level of detachment. So, you know, falling in love is all very well and lovely and all the rest of that, but let common sense rule. I think that's the best advice I can give, because everybody's so different. You can't really, I would not want to tar everybody with one brush.
Absolutely.
People are unique. We're meant to be unique, you know, and for me, I had made it quite clear that I wasn't going to come back to England to live. So if that was your agenda, that was never going to happen.
Yeah.
So I'm not one, you know, so I made that pretty clear from beginning. So I think that the only real thing I could advise somebody is that if they are really interested and really want to see if their partner or, you know, new beau is true, tell them that you have no intention on staying in your home country or moving to theirs.
Yeah.
And see what the reaction is. That will tell you a big story.
Good point. Yeah, no, that's a very good point. Because we definitely have in our time in Ghana, we met, unfortunately, people that were stung. And I heard stories as well. So it's definitely something that we have to be careful of, for sure.
Yeah, and I think it's a global issue. I don't think it's just Ghana.
Yeah, no, not at all. But it's just because we spent that extended time in Ghana, we kind of got to know a few more people, and yeah, you kind of become aware of some of the things that do go on there.
Yeah.
So can you tell us more about life in Ghana? So what does a typical day look like for you, if there is such a thing as a typical day?
A typical day, that's really tough. My day changed so much over time. But in the last stint, let's say, that I had there, my typical day was pretty much a lot of my time spent online, because I work online. I've been working online on and off for the duration of my time there. So aside from doing some, project management, and I did do some teaching at one point as well, in an international school, American international school. That was a good experience as well, very interesting. And running my mum's businesses for her and things like that. I got involved in some construction work. That was, that was tough going, but again, quite good. I think I did so much more than I had ever even thought about in my, across the last 10 years. I've done so many different things that I know for a fact if I'd been in England, that would not have happened. I wouldn't have had those experiences or that sort of exposure and things like that. So and I always wanted to work online and work from home, but I actually made it come to fruition during my time there. And so I wouldn't go back. So although I do have my husband has a business that he's running there, a physical business. I tend to take care of working my jobs online and leave him to run the physical business, because I prefer working online, to be honest.
And can I ask what you do online? Because I know lots of people want to know, how do you finance this lifestyle? I want to live abroad. I'm thinking about moving to Ghana. How can I find a way to make money online?
If you want to make money online, reach out. That's what I would advise you to do. Reach out, because there's a lot. There's a lot out there. There's a lot to choose from, and not everything is for everyone. But for me personally, I decided that since I had ended up making a transition into the life that I'd always wanted to live, I was going to maximize on it. And so I only do things that I love. I choose the businesses that I'm going to run according to how I feel about them. So, for example, I have a natural and organic business that I run. I'm an independent consultant for a company. I love the product. I use the product. So I share the product. That's simple. Some of the businesses I do are only UK based. Some of them are global. But that's fine. And it's something. See, for me, my model works wherever you're from, because you can run any business that's available in your home country as well as any business that's available in the new country that you're going to.
Okay.
So you can, because of that, it just makes life easy. You can just pick and choose what you're going to do when you're going to do it. But my first passion is travel. I absolutely love travel. I'm all about travel. I'm all about experiences, creating memories, that kind of thing. Because I did have a baby in Ghana. So that's another experience that a lot of people tend to go back to their home country to have their babies, but I didn't. I chose to have my son in Ghana. So also another thing that I think some people thought it was a really bad choice. Other people were like, you know, you're really brave. Other people were like, just go home and do it there. But yeah, so that's a whole nother story. But yeah, I wanted my son to have more exposure, because as a child, we did lots of day trips in England during the summer, for example. My parents were really good like that. A summer never went by and we didn't do our day trips, and we loved them. But from quite a young age, I knew I wanted to travel. And so when that opportunity arose to actually get involved in a travel business, but not have all the responsibility and learning curve of being a travel agent, I was like, yeah, I'm all in. So I get to travel and get paid to travel as well. So it's fantastic. I love that. Love creating the memories, love the exposure that, you know, that for my son and all of that kind of thing. So yeah, if anybody's interested, reach out and we can talk.
And what's the best way for them to reach you if they want to learn more? Where can they find you?
So if you want to know more, I do use Facebook, Stacey Buckman -Ankara. That's ANKRAH on Facebook. My Instagram is Stacey Buckman Official. TikTok, Stacey Buckman. But if you want to really reach out to me, probably Facebook or Instagram, the easier way. But I do also have, I believe in love and happiness. And I believe that everywhere you go, you should leave someone smiling. And that is a really big part of who I am. If you don't like to smile, I don't think you can spend time in my company. I think I'd probably get on your nerves because I'm always happy. I don't let anything get me down. You know, people are like, but don't, you know, everybody has bad days. No, I might have a bad few minutes.
Yeah.
But I don't have bad days ever.
Yeah.
That time has passed. That ship sailed a long time ago. You know, I just make sure that I'm always happy. And I just tell people, yeah, I'm high on life. But that's how I've structured my life. I make a conscious decision every day that I want to be happy. And so I do as much as possible every single day to make sure that is what's happening, that I am happy, and everybody I come into contact with, you know, is infected with some of that happiness. That's my main goal.
I love that. I love that you consciously made the decision to only do things that bring you joy and happiness. That's what life is about to me. I think that's the purpose.
Exactly. That's what life is meant to be about. But a lot of people don't realize it. A lot of people, you know, I fell into that trap when I was living in England, like as I was brought up in England, like I said, and you know, I got my first job at 16, and I was working for what is now HMRC, in a local tax office and things like that. That was my first job, and I just sort of moved through different jobs, and yet they were jobs. Like now, when I work, I'm working at something that I love.
Yeah.
Rather than just doing a job.
Yeah.
If it's not something that I'm actually in love with, then it's something that I know is helping a lot of people.
Right.
For example, I'm currently doing a job for local government, and I didn't choose that particular role because I loved the job. I chose that role because I knew how many people it could help. Because to me, that's what we're here for.
Yeah.
Our job is to help as many people as possible. Yeah. You are supposed to support mankind. You know, you are supposed to be there to spread love to your fellow man. You know, and I believe that, and so I live it every day.
Wonderful. That's really beautiful. So can you tell us more about giving birth in Ghana? Like you said, I'm currently pregnant currently
Okay.
pregnant, and a lot of people assumed that I would be going back to the UK as well to give birth. And personally, I couldn't think of anything worse. That was a definite no for me. So what was it for you? What made you decide to give birth in Ghana, and how was your experience?
Okay, so the reason that people thought that I should have come back is because I'm slightly older. My pregnancy is considered geriatric, because once you hit 30, is it 30 or 35?
35, I think.
Yeah, you're considered geriatric where pregnancy is concerned. So a lot of people thought that I should come back because of that, and things like that. But, you know, if you've ever been pregnant before, you know that nothing's guaranteed. And although you can travel up to, 36 weeks for most airlines, I think, you don't know when you're going to have that baby. That's the fact.
Absolutely.
And I was like, you know, so I leave my husband, I go back to England. I'm then going to be what I thought would be a burden on my family who are in England, because at the end of the day, I'm pregnant and I'll be big and pregnant. And then I'm going to go into hospital alone, have this baby alone, come home with the baby alone. I just thought, and be in England in the cold. No thanks. Pass.
Understandable.
So yeah, I was like, no. But I did understand, though, all jokes aside, that, you know, love Ghana and all that, but it is a third world country. Sometimes some things are lacking in areas. Although I must say that healthcare is now really, really, really good in Ghana. Going back 10, maybe 15 years ago, healthcare got a bad rap there. But now there's a hospital for every pocket. You have to remember there's no NHS there. You know, all your hospital bills are paid for. But there is there's a good insurance system going on. There's a private insurance system going on. It does work. It works well. So anybody making that choice, you know, there's something for every pocket, hospital-wise. So that is a big plus for Ghana. So I just looked around, asked a lot of questions, spoke to people I knew and other mums, Ghanaian mums, and spoke to them about where they were having their babies, what doctors they had chosen, you know, that kind of thing. And there was a pretty prominent doctor who was actually a doctor for one of the local TV stations. And he used to, you know, go and do a health show and that kind of thing. And he had a pretty good reputation. And he wasn't a million miles from where I was living at the time. So I chose him, and I had my baby in his hospital. And it was different. It was different. I'm not going to lie.
Okay.
Some of the nurses were not like what I'm used to in England. Not that I've spent any time in hospital here aside from when I've had my children, but yeah. And my parents are both nurses, so yeah, it was different. It was not what you'd be expecting, but if you sort of just have conversations with your doctor prior to birth and all of that kind of thing, let them know what your plan is, you know, do your own research, again, apply common sense. If something doesn't feel right, then, you know, it doesn't feel right, move on, you know, go somewhere else, you know, make a new choice. You're not being held to ransom on anything. So you know, don't be a victim is basically what I'm saying. In any situation, you always have a choice, you know, and just know who you are and where you're coming from. For example, I know that when I have a baby, luckily for me, it wasn't my first baby. It was my fourth child, 3 pregnancies, because my eldest children are twins. So it was my 3rd pregnancy. So I know me, I know my body pretty well. And I knew that if everything goes as the other 2 had pregnancies had gone, then, you know, I tend to go through a stage where I can't talk. When the pain hits a certain level, I can't talk anymore. So I'd let my husband know. I said, look, this is what's going to happen. And when that happens, I'm going to be relying on you to make sure that the correct choices are made. Don't let people do anything you know isn't right or doesn't feel right to you. And that kind of thing. And so he was very supportive, and he you know, agreed with everything I said and basically followed instruction like a very good husband should.
So you say different. What was different about it?
Some of the nurses are a little brash. And just not as, I don't even know what the right word is. I don't want to be harsh because I'm really cautious not to tar everybody with the same brush.
Yeah.
Some of them, there were a couple that were really lovely and then a couple that weren't as lovely. How about that?
Okay.
And so, you know, yes, some interesting things happened that I probably don't want to go into. I'll tell you those in private.
Okay.
But yeah, it was an interesting experience. But I think that if you know, are somebody who's quite confident, you know, you're not afraid to speak up for yourself, and you know, you have your plan and you'll stick to your plan for as long as it's safe, and that's that, you'll be fine.
Yeah, fair enough. And do you remember how much it cost to give birth in Ghana?
Oh goodness, you're asking me a question now. Now, I had a normal delivery because that makes a big difference.
Of course, yeah.
And I believe, although I did have a little bit of complication afterwards, so I did pay more than somebody would have paid at that point. And I think right now it would have cost approximately £200.
Wow.
So reasonable, very reasonable.
That's very reasonable.
There are other hospitals that were charging 10, 20, even 30 times what I paid.
Yeah.
But being a mum who had given birth a couple of times before, and I was quite confident, I'd never had any issues. It was the first time I ever had a complication, actually, of any kind, and that sort of thing. So I was fairly confident. So I didn't pick the most expensive hospital because I didn't feel I needed it. I actually wanted to have a home birth. My mum's a midwife, and she was like, "No, that's it. No, go to hospital." So because of that, I could. There are some very expensive hospitals there, and they are, you know, very flashy and all the rest of it. But people are people. I don't really think you need it. Yeah, that's my opinion.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit more about finances in Accra then, because the other people want to know is how much is it going to cost me to live there? And I know you said when you first moved, you were living with your mum. Is that still the case? Do you have your own place now?
No.
What kind of cost of living can people expect if they are interested in moving to Ghana, to Accra specifically?
It honestly 100% depends on your budget. There's everything. There's all manner of properties for all manner of prices. Some of them you'll pay in local currency. Let's say the less pretty ones you'll pay in local currency.
Right.
And as they get prettier and more expensive and newer builds and more expensive areas, you tend to go from cedis to dollars pretty rapidly. So literally, again, it's all about your pocket.
Yeah.
But what I will say, the last property that I rented cost, I'm trying to do a quick conversion now. It was a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom apartment in a new build just outside of Accra. And it cost less than the average person's month's wages in England.
Okay.
So I think it cost somewhere around £1,200 for 2 years.
So are you saying 1,200 per month for 2 years? 1,200 total for the 2 years. So you're saying 600 a year, £600 per year.
So the difference is big, and it was a new build. It was nice, and it was pretty spacious. That's unfurnished as well.
I'm trying to do some quick math in my head now, and it's going to show how bad I am at this. So you're saying that's like 40-something pounds per month. I think quick math in my head. Yeah, because 12 fours would be 48. So yeah, 40 to 50 pounds per month.
Right now, it's probably a bit higher than that now. But it'll be less than double that right now.
What area is this in?
That was in Ouija.
Wow.
Ouija, just literally. It's almost like the difference between, if anybody knows East London, it's the difference between saying you live in Essex, in maybe Ilford or something like that, and somebody who says they live. Somebody who says they live in Essex, let's say Ilford, and somebody who lives in East London around maybe Stratford or somewhere.
Yeah.
So it's not far.
Because when we were in Ghana, and I'm finding the conversation more now, is that Accra is becoming extremely expensive for a lot of people. Some prices kind of even more than you might expect to pay in London, which is what we found, and that was one of the reasons why we didn't stay, is because it was quite significant. However, I will say we were looking, like we were staying but just before we left, we were in East Legon. Extremely expensive, because we were on the outskirts before, but what we were finding, like you said, because there's so much life in Accra, we were to and forth all the time, and it just felt like for the amount of time, the amount of money we're spending coming into Accra, we might as well be based inside Accra, but you do pay for it.
You will pay the price, 100%. So for me, I used to, because I was working from home online anyway, I only really came into Accra when I had something specific to do.
Yeah.
So for me, it was worth it.
Yeah.
I mean, the only cost of ours that went up was fuel, really, for the car.
Right. Yeah.
And that's another thing. If you've got your own car, that will make a lot of difference as well. But it's normal standard stuff. It's everywhere. It's the same everywhere. It's like the difference between choosing a property in Belgravia or something to choosing one, in Tower Hamlets. The difference is going to be huge.
Yeah.
So it's the same principle.
If
you choose to live around the American Embassy in Cantonments, or you choose to live in anywhere in East Legon, it's going to be pricey. But then if you decide that, okay, there's a lot to do in East Legon, so you want to be there or close, why not have a look at American House, or have a look at Ajingano, or, any of those areas that are closer to East Legon, rather than
actually inside. Yeah.
It's extremely expensive. It's extortionate, actually.
Yeah.
But if you're in American House, you've got... it's still expensive, but it's nowhere near East Legon, and literally they're a stone's throw apart.
They are, yeah, they are.
You know, a bit further out would be Ajinganot, and again, short taxi ride, not too expensive. You'd be in the centre of East Legon. So it's just about, you know, again, applying common sense. A lot of this is common sense, and, you know, knowing that, yes, you as a foreigner will probably pay that little bit more than everybody else as well. But again, that happens everywhere. I mean, even trying to rent in England right now is difficult. So yeah, it's just standard stuff, really. And the great thing about Ghana as a choice, if anybody's thinking about moving to Ghana in particular, is the fact that 9 out of 10 people speak English.
Very true.
Just makes life easier.
Yeah, it does. It does. But I'm still trying to get over the fact that you were spending £50 per month on rent. I mean, like you said, even if it has doubled, £100 for a 2-bed, 2-bath is pretty good. And like you said, I think, you know, especially if you're more considering living, you know, we were still kind of in visiting mode. And so I think that's why location was quite important for us as well. You know, we had friends that were quite centrally located and we wanted to spend more time with them. So, but if you're spending majority of your time at home, or visiting outside of Accra, then you don't need to go into central Accra as much, and so don't require to spend anywhere near that, which is phenomenal. Wow. And the fact that it was a new build as well. Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong, searching for property is not easy. You need a reliable agent as well. Yes.
To take you around, and that in itself can be a pricey experience. There you'll pay for every property they show you. And things like that. So there are those things, and having local knowledge is priceless anywhere at the end of the day. You know, so if you've got anybody who can, you know, just show you the ropes and let you know what's right and what's not, what's reasonable and what's not, you know, am I expected to pay this, or am I expected to do this? I tend to find that people who, my experiences in Ghana anyway, of people who come over and they're thinking about staying or even just visiting, they don't take quite enough time to understand the way things are done. And they spend so much time complaining about the differences. It kind of makes me feel like, well, why travel? You travel to enjoy and experience different things and different cultures and different ways. And if you want everything to be as it is in your home country, then stay there, because it just doesn't make sense. All you're going to do is upset yourself.
Very true. I think it's a mindset shift, and it's very difficult for people to make that switch from, you know, expecting everything to be done as it is in the West, in the UK, where everything, I think the biggest thing is the convenience that we have in the UK. And when a lot of those conveniences are taken away, removed, it's quite an adjustment. It is an adjustment. It is an adjustment. Yeah, even for us. So we've been traveling for 4 years, and there's been certain places we've moved to, and it's like, woo, even for us, this is a lot, you know, it's a bit difficult. So you really have to decolonize your mind, basically. You have to decolonize your mind.
Yeah. You need to remember that you're not home. Things are going to be different. Your challenges will be different. Your enjoyment will be different. Your successes will be different. Your failures will be different. It's going to be a different experience, and just embrace the experience. There are going to be things that, you know, you're not going to enjoy. For example, for me, I do not enjoy lights off. When those lights go out, I just feel like I want to tear my hair out. I love my hair, by the way. you know. But it just makes me feel like the depression. It's like a, and then I just have to remind myself, okay, now it's gonna be all right. It's gonna come back on, you know. Or I just, you know, I just keep a torch by. I've always got a torch.
Yeah.
Torch. I switch on the torch. I look for my things, pack a bag, pick up my modem, laptop, ring light, out the door. Find the nearest hotel or something like that, you know, and spend a couple of hours there, you know. So it's just a case of thinking in solution, because that is what I'm all about as well. I think solutions. I don't think in problems. If you think in problems, you're always irritated.
Yes.
But if you think in solutions, it's like, okay, so I've been presented with the problem. Straight away, you go to, what am I going to do about it?
What can I do about it? Yeah.
And you'll figure it out.
True.
You know? And then those things stop being problems, because the next time you already have your solution in place.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's just, you're totally right. It's a mindset thing. But that's another thing that I do, you see. I coach people about mindset and help them overcome limiting beliefs and grief and loss and all that kind of thing as well. So for me, it's a normal and easy go-to, but a lot of people actually have to learn that.
Yes, 100%.
And if I think for anybody who wants to go and live abroad, it's worthwhile learning before you go.
Ideally before, I was going to say, ideally before you go as well. Before there's a lot of healing that many of us need to do, and we don't necessarily need to do that in the country. That's not really good for anyone.
I agree. And it's one of those things that healing is hard. Healing is often hard work. You have to be dedicated to the cause, and you have to want to do it.
Yeah.
So going through that experience while you're in a place you're not yet calling home is just going to make your struggle more difficult.
Yeah.
So if you've got self-development to do, mindset work to do, you know in your heart you've got it to do. Work on it as soon as possible and live your best life.
Yeah.
You know, that's my advice.
Thank you. So you're back in the UK for now.
Yeah.
How does it feel? How does it feel to be back in the UK?
To be honest, I feel like I've just become so resilient. It doesn't really matter where I am. My whole life is about creating those experiences, those memories, those adventures. So, you know, my little son has been through so many firsts in the months we've been here. Like, he lost his teeth and, you know, went to school in England for the first time, and we had a trip to Wales. Neither of us had ever been to Wales, actually, but we made a trip to Wales. He saw snow for the first time a couple of weeks ago. He learnt to ride a scooter. He's learning how to roller skate. Just so many firsts. He's taken his stage 1 gymnastics grading. You know, just a whole lot. His timetable is so full, it's unbelievable. But again, another joy of working from home. So I'm able to do those things with him, and you know, so there's just I'm just embracing life in a way that I never did or could before. And it's something that I would advise everybody to do, because you'll have trials and tribulations, but you'll have trials and tribulations in your life come what may, you know. So as long as you're around, you know, the trials and tribulations will rear their ugly heads, shall we say. But travel it broadens your mind.
Absolutely.
It's just food for the soul.
Yeah. Yeah, I 100% agree. I think, like you said, I think we have to learn how to find those joys, those peaceful moments wherever we are. And running away to another country isn't necessarily going to solve any issues that you might have. However, I do genuinely believe that there is something about being abroad. For me anyway, being in warmer climates, tropical climates in particular, that just gives your mind space to breathe and think and really consider what is important to you on a daily basis. So I do struggle a little bit if I have to go back to the UK, because I just feel my mind gets a bit clouded and there's just so much. Again, maybe it's the pace that, London operates on, that I need that space. I need that time to help me process each moment a bit better.
Let's talk mindset. You need to put some time with me. Put some time with me, because honestly, you have all the tools you need to handle that. That is not an issue. That is an easy. You can overcome that in a split second.
No, I'm convinced there's something about London. There's something.
My advice to you, though, is my first piece of advice to you would be: don't come to England in winter. Only ever come in spring or summer. Only ever come in spring or summer, because straight away, if you have to come in autumn or winter, straight away your mind is telling you, no, I can't do that. No, I don't want to be there. No. So just don't do it. Don't book it. Don't book during that time. Whatever it is, it can wait. So only do spring and summer. And secondly, remember that you are making the decisions. You are calling the shots. If you decide that it's going to be too much, then that's exactly what it's going to be.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. No, that's...
What do you want your life to look like? That's the question.
I appreciate that. No, and they're great points, because two of the times that we had to return, it wasn't by choice as such. My mum's 60th. I can't choose when she was born, unfortunately. She was born slap bang in the middle of December. So we had to go back at that time. And one of my best friends, it was her wedding. So again, I didn't choose when she decided to get married. So yeah, but otherwise, no, you're right. Otherwise, my husband and I, we both said never again during that time. We wouldn't. It's just not for us.
What the key is when you don't have a choice is you just keep it brief.
Yeah, good point.
So that then for the whole time you're there, even if it's like pouring with rain, but every split second you're on British soil, you're happy because you're seeing people you haven't seen. You're doing your schedule is so tight that it's so full that your heart is full all the time.
Yeah.
And then you're gone.
That's a good point. I like that.
Keep it brief. There's always a solution. I don't think there's many problems that you could tell me about that I couldn't find a solution for you.
I believe you.
Yeah, there's always a silver lining. It doesn't matter what it is. Sometimes you have to dig really deep.
Yeah.
To find that silver lining, but there's always one. Always.
Yeah. No, I like that. So, when do you go back to Ghana?
$64,000 question. Oh, I think my husband would like to know the answer to that question. I said, yeah, I'll probably be 2, maybe 3 months. I came over for my son's wedding. Yeah, and I told him I'll probably be 2, maybe 3 months, and he said, okay. He's really soft. So, yeah, and I'm now in month 9, I think.
How has that been?
But,
sorry, I didn't mean to cut you.
Oh, sorry, I was just going to say, in my defence, I did also take a job that I didn't expect to take, so that did influence some of it.
Fair enough. I was going to ask, how has it been kind of juggling a relationship between two countries, long distance? How is that?
Long distance is always hard. I think anybody who says long distance is easy has either never had a long distance relationship or is just a barefaced liar. It's hard. So what makes it easier in this day and age is, like, you know, WhatsApp calls and all the video calls, and that kind of thing. So that makes it a lot easier, because at any given moment you can see your loved one. So you know, that makes it easier, but it's not the same. It's definitely not the same. And that's probably the hardest part of us being apart. You know, there are just certain things you want to experience with your significant other. That's, you know, it's normal. But at the same time, it does have its positives. You know what they say about absence. So, you know, it has its positives like that. And I think I'm one of those people who believes there's a real importance in individuality within the relationship. Yeah. So, you know, I've never felt stifled or any of the things that some wives feel, because I have my marriage and I'm happy in that, and I also have my individuality and I'm happy in that. So I have a lot of free reign to do what I want to do and achieve what I want to achieve, and so I'm very fulfilled in my life as a whole, and that's always a great feeling. So but it's not always easy, for sure.
Of course. And what would you say that you love the most about Ghana and life there?
Oh, the people. Closely followed by the sun. I just love
it's a different sun. It's a different sun, I swear.
Yeah. It's a different angle. The sun shines differently on Ghana. Ghana's got... Do you know what? Ghana wasn't named the Gold Coast for nothing. And it wasn't just the gold in the ground. That's my belief. There's something about Ghana, and people, you won't get it until you go.
Yeah.
There's a different feeling there.
Yeah.
And there's just a different feeling there. Ghana's a magical place.
I agree.
Something about it, there's just something just draws you back in, you know? And so it's somewhere that I will always have a home. That much I know. It doesn't matter how much traveling I do around the globe. And I do intend to see every country in the world. But there's just a feeling there. You can't quite put your finger on what it is, but there's a feeling there. Yeah.
No, I feel that. I felt that. Especially the very first time I visited. I've been twice. First time I visited Ghana is such a special place. Special place.
The first time, I'm very sure you got on the plane and you're like, I'll be back soon.
Yeah, 100%. I first went in 2012, and it was a very different experience for me, because the first time I went as part of a mission trip. And we visited, we didn't actually spend much time in Accra. I think we were only in Accra for like 1 or 2 days. But the majority of the time, and we were there for almost 3 weeks, the majority of the time we were visiting kind of the different regions. And it was one of the best experiences that I have ever had. And I came back to the UK. I wasn't quite married then, but, I said to my then boyfriend, oh my God, you have to go. We're going to Ghana. Like, you have to go. You're going to love it. And I think one of the reasons I did love it so much is Accra's cool, but Accra is a bit too similar to London in some ways for me. So I think I loved it so much because I got to see the full beauty of Ghana and all the different regions. And there's, I like to say, when people say they're going to Accra, I always say try and spend time outside of Accra as well, because there is so much beauty in the rest of Ghana as well. It's stunning. It is a stunning country.
Yeah, I agree. There's a lot to see, and there's a lot that I still haven't seen. And I keep saying that I'm going to go back and travel more. But I'm a huge fan of Takoradi. I love Takoradi, and Akosombo. I don't know if you've been to Akosombo.
No.
You must. You have to make a trip back just for that. Akosombo is lovely, and you're close to the dam and all. Like, there's just so much history everywhere.
Yes, exactly.
And I love that. Exactly. And there are some really, really nice resorts in Ghana now, as well. And so it's, for me, it's one of those places that if somebody wants to see what I call real Africa, but they don't want to be somewhere touristy, but they want to be somewhere that's safe, Ghana's the choice. To me, Ghana is the choice.
Yeah.
I should be working for Ghana Tourism Board.
Yeah, you said it well. No, definitely. I agree with you. I agree. Yeah, it's beautiful and very safe. Yeah, we felt so safe there. Very safe.
I mean, there's crime everywhere, but yeah, generally speaking, that's where I feel at my safest.
Absolutely. Yeah. Now I knew I could walk out at like 10:30, 11 p.m. and I did at times, and on my own, without AJ, and feel comfortable, confident, no issues at all.
Yeah. I totally agree with that.
So coming down to final couple of questions, one thing I want to know is, if you had the opportunity to do your time over again, is there anything that you would change? Is there anything that you would do differently?
I think the only thing that I could say is it would be nice to be more prepared.
Right.
But other than that, okay, the other thing is that I would definitely be a lot more patient.
Good one. Yeah.
Because I was in full-on London mode when I went, and so I had no patience, because here, everything happens very fast.
Yeah.
So it took me a long time to get used to the slower pace. It took me a long time. So but I'm a totally different person now anyway. So I know I'd find it easier. It'd be a lot easier. If I did it again now.
Of course.
I actually do feel that it stood me in good stead, because I now feel like there's nowhere I couldn't live.
Yes.
I'm fearless when it comes to travel. Absolutely.
Yes.
No, drop me in the middle of, I don't know, Kazakhstan or something. I'll figure it out. I'm totally fearless.
Yeah. No, it's a good point. Yeah, it's a great training ground. Definitely.
Definitely.
And are you reading anything at the moment? I'm big on reading. So are you reading anything right now?
Oh, all right. Hang on a minute. I've got to go and get this book. 1 second.
Sure.
Right, back on the beach. This is my current reading.
Ask. Okay. Ask. Was this it? The Bridge from Your Dreams to Your Destiny. Huh.
Ask. Yeah, ask. Read it, guys. Just read the book. Anything self-development. I'm all about self-development. I think it's everybody's responsibility to be the best version of themselves they can possibly be in order to be of service to others.
Yeah.
That's our role. I'm a firm believer in that. And because of that, you should always be reading something that is going to enhance that in you. You should always be watching, something on YouTube or something that is leading you into something great. Just explore the possibility of your own greatness. Most people don't value themselves enough.
Agreed.
And if people just realize and just knew how powerful they are, and have so much abundance in their lives, people would be happier. The world would be an amazing place. I now give my youngest son all the tools that he needs to be the best version of himself. He actually believes he's a king. He's a king. He tells me I'm the queen and he's the king. And if you mention the word happy in front of him, he will tell you, I'm always happy. I never want to be unhappy. Those sorts of things for children are powerful. So if you've got children, you need to be, it's even more important that you're your best version of yourself, because it will naturally rub off on them.
Yeah. Agreed.
And patience, I had to learn patience. I always used to say patience. I've got a big bottom, so I always used to say, when God was giving out patience, I was in the queue getting more bottom in seconds. Patience. But now, all the patience in the world, and it just makes you so much happier. It makes you so much happier. So, people who are suffering with anxiety, depression and all that, I went through that. I had my stint of anxiety and depression. Now, I couldn't even imagine. It's just not possible. Just not possible. And it all starts with mindset and self-development and who you are as a person and your inner beliefs.
Yeah.
That's where it starts. So again, reach out. I just want to help as many people as possible. That is just my goal in life.
Yeah, I love that. Stacey, thank you so much for blessing us with your time, your positive, encouraging, inspiring energy. It was a real pleasure to have you with us here today. We appreciate you so much. And guys, go follow her, go see what she's up to, reach out to her. If you know that you could use some support at the moment. You're such an inspiring person, such a positive person as well. And I hope more people definitely take inspiration from your story and get to know a bit more about what you're up to. So we appreciate you. And family, we thank you for joining us for another episode, and we'll see you in the next one. Take care, guys. Bye.